That creator's name is Lucas, and Lucas's mere existence is demonstrative of a few different things regarding gender. 1. Gender is a socialized construct. 2. Gender identity is both valid and arbitrary. And 3. Gender is not binary. 1. I am certain within 99.9% of a doubt that based on his presentation, you would consider Lucas a man. 2. If you would not consider Lucas a man, then you must concede that women can look and present like him and still be considered women. 3. If you are incapable of considering Lucas as either a man or a woman, then that is not a gender binary.
How do you leave the house and walk into Walmart, any establishment for that matter?
So she was asking about how we go to like establishments such as Walmart, Target, anywhere out in public with robes and house shoes and bonnets on, basically like in pajamas, like we're prepared to go to bed. And I'm going to show you how. So first things first, I'm going to put my robe on. I got to go to CVS to get some more melatonin. And I gotta go to Fiesta to get some iced coffee and some Pop-Tarts. This is the bonnet I'm gonna be wearing today. This is my individuality bonnet. Pop that right on. I already got my house shoes on. Let me show y'all. These are my house shoes. These are my favorite house shoes. I wear these in the house, out the house, up the house, down the house. And so yeah, that's how we do it. All right, goodbye.
This is America, Lois. Men have always run things, and there have never been any problems whatsoever. And don't say the economy, or Iraq, or income inequality, or racism, or Brett Kavanaugh, or air pollution, or Vietnam, or slavery, or Watergate, or capitalism, or Me Too, or homelessness, or police brutality, or homophobia, or Monica Lewinsky, or school shootings, or Native American genocide, or Fox News, or Tim Allen, or climate change.
This is going to be crazy. About 600 people just died at once, and if the world had open borders, this wouldn't have happened. A fishing vessel carrying 750 Syrian, Pakistani, Palestinian, and Egyptian refugees sank off the coast of Greece while it was en route from Libya to Italy. It capsized while being pulled roughly by the Greek Coast Guard, who had waited for hours before finally intervening. Around 100 people made it out, which means that 600 people who were just seeking a better life for themselves died for no reason. If we had a global system of open borders where desperate people could move to better places with no obstacles, these types of disasters would not happen. This is the only morally defensible position about immigration, and if you don't believe in freedom of movement, you don't believe in freedom. This is of course in contrast to the 5 rich tourists who died in the submersible who could live anywhere they wanted and had a small army looking for them. Yummy.
Things I do as an adult that I learned to do as a child. Hypervigilance edition. Whenever someone approaches me, I give them my undivided attention, even though they might not need it.
I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?
I said no matter who you are, there's no way to accumulate billions without deserving horrible fucking things happen to you.
Why do you need that? Why
because
do you need
I need it. Well,
yes.
For me, I gotta get my ramp out.
So my mutual Becca made a great video talking about why this is the reason a lot of disabled people are scared to use tools and aids, because people will harass you if they think you don't look sick enough. And that is 1,000,000% true. And another reason I think it's so dangerous that people determine how ill someone is based on how they look is because it affects how people perceive their own illnesses and health. And what I mean by this is, especially when I was younger, I wanted to appear sicker because people legitimately did not believe that I was in excruciating pain. And of course, this is like heavily correlated with medical gaslighting and misogyny and doctors not believing or caring about you. But it's so dangerous because I will legitimately be in so much pain, and just because I don't look sick, I won't go to the hospital because I think they won't treat me. Like the other day, I thought I was having a heart attack, but because I thought I didn't look sick enough, I refused to go to the emergency room. Turns out I had pneumonia. This shit is real.
Here's 4 history books that I think will help you realize that historical writing is not boring or dry. It can be fascinating and so fun to read. Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s is one of the most fun experiences that I've ever had reading nonfiction. It's a breakneck pace with so many twists and turns that you would never expect, and if you like true crime at all, or if you like history at all, this is an absolute must-read. Out of the 140 nonfiction books that I read last year, this was my favorite. I read it twice, and I'm probably going to read it again this year. The 90s is a history book that is talking about the culture, the music, the sports, and basically every little niche topic of the 90s in such a fascinating and interesting way. The author is incredibly funny and smart, and I really, really enjoyed this. If you're a millennial, I can't think you won't love this one. How the Word is Passed, A Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America is absolutely the most beautiful history book that I have ever read in my entire life, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. It's a phenomenal and accessible approach to history, and written in such a way that it's an absolute page-turner. You will not want to put this one down. The End of the Myth, From the Frontier to the Border Wall in the Mind of America by Greg Grandin will probably make you fall in love with historical writing, because what this book does and the way it's able to craft the arguments and the theories surrounding the progress of history is so compelling and so fascinating. It's one of the best books I've ever read.
A scam that's become so normalized that we don't even realize it's a scam anymore.
I might shake the room with this one, but sleeping. The 8-hour sleep cycle that we have, yeah, it's a scam. Hi, my name is Robin. I'm your local sleep expert. So yes, sleeping is actually a scam. Well, I should say it's been ingrained into our society so that we run on a capitalistic sleeping schedule. We didn't used to abide by the 8-hour sleeping schedule. We used to actually have 2 sleeps. They were called first sleep and second sleep. And basically you would wake up at, dawn or sunrise or whatever, and you would do most of your work, or if not all of your work, for the first half of your day. And then around noon or lunchtime is when you would take your lunch and then probably go for your second sleep, which is just another regenerative period for your body to restore the energy that you've used up previously. So by the time you wake up around like 3 or 4 o'clock, you're ready to go about the rest of your day, if not preparing lunch, hanging out with family, or just doing whatever. The 9-to-5 working system we have here in our capitalistic society has made it so that we don't effectively get as much sleep as we need. And y'all need to sleep more.
I have a big announcement for you today. I am moving back to Iqaluit, Nunavut in August, September. I want to bring you with me because I know it takes so much to move up north, and I wanted to tell you, bring you with me and show where I'm gonna live, what I need to do, the environment, how it's going to be. I was living here close to Ottawa because I got pregnant, but now it's time to go back. That's why we were in need at first to tell our landlord. I needed to tell my boss because I was working, and I needed to tell my baby's daycare. I'm super excited for this because for me, this city, it's kind of lonely for myself. We have different reasons for moving here or staying here, but for me, I need nature, I need more of the land, I need my culture. And I think talking about my culture every day with strangers makes me want to be up north more. Next steps that are really stressful for me is we need to find a place to stay. Iqaluit is really hard with housing. We'll see. I'm pretty confident everything will be fine, but it's still stressful. And next step is also in the next weeks, getting rid of everything we don't need, which is really cool because it feels good to give away what we accumulate. Yes. Knuckle me. Thank you. See you next time.
La mejor medicina.
This super thorny plant is a way that we heal pain. So I took my cousin to the river, whacked chini all over her body, and sang her a song. Let's ask her how she feels.
Ese chini, ¿cómo siente? Como una picadura, ¿te duele? ¿Sabes que no me duele? Sentí como que me estabas echando agua en la espalda, de verdad. Y se siente más libre. Sí, no hay nada de dolor. Siento que soy más liberada. ¡Ay, qué rico! Para mí siempre esa conexión que vamos a tener con el río, con el sacha, es la mejor medicina que nosotros podemos tener aquí como mujeres quichuas. Para muchos tal vez no sea importante esa conexión que tenemos con la naturaleza, con el sacha. el río Napo me va a dar más vida, más energía, siempre, siempre. No hay nada mejor que meterse en el río Napo. Acá en Chinapuyac.
This is how an Indian school built in the desert still keeps its students cool. This is the Rajkumari Ranavati Girls' School located in Jaisalmer that helps empower and educate nearly 400 girls aged between 5 and 16 in rural India. The shape and position of the building helps catch the wind, which is then funneled into the school, helping cool the temperature. The classrooms have high ceilings, allowing heat to rise and leave out of small windows that help reduce the heat in the classrooms to 20 to 30 Fahrenheit cooler. Inspired by ancient water harvesting techniques, the roof and courtyard collect water from monsoons that can be used at a later date. Solar panels on the roof provide electricity for lighting and fans, and also serve as a shaded canopy area for children to play in below. The designers were so keen to minimise the impact of the building, they moved the entire thing when they realised it would destroy 2 small trees, which are now beautifully integrated into the courtyard. The region has one of the lowest literacy rates in India, especially among girls, but schools like this can help provide them with a safe, accessible place to learn and feel empowered. Would you like to see more sustainable projects like this? Hit the like button if you would, and drop any suggestions you have of cool sustainable projects in the comments.
You guys hate billionaires so much that you're turning into fucking savages.
What did you think people meant when they said eat the rich? Do you think that when people say that they hate billionaires, it's just because they're mean? It's just because they're meanie bobeanies? No, it's never been that. That is an adorable way of thinking. It would be so much better if we lived in this kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya, let's all hold hands and sing songs type of world. But sadly, we don't. So saying that a billionaire's life matters just as much as your life is saying absolutely nothing, because one of us is being exploited for our labor and the other one of us is making millions upon millions of dollars off that labor while the rest of us can barely get by. You'll never be a billionaire. You can meet right billionaires all you want to, but you'll never be a billionaire. They spent an amount of money that most people will never see unless they end up in crippling debt to go into a death machine. They signed a waiver that mentioned death 3 times. But I'm a bad person for not really caring? They spent a billionaire's equivalent of going to McDonald's to see the gravesite of people who were literally left to die because they were too poor, gated off from the first class, and left to drown because they could not afford a lifeboat. I'm not a Titanic expert, but I don't think the people on the Titanic knew it was gonna sink, let alone signed a waiver that mentioned death 3 times and still got on it. They knew that the CEO of OceanGate was avoiding rules and regulations that were literally put in place to prevent situations like this from happening, and they still got on because rich people think that having money makes them above the rules, laws, and regulations, even if those rules, laws, and regulations are put in place to keep you as a person safe. I see so many people trying to make the point that, oh, they just wanted to see the Titanic. They just wanted to see the ocean and explore. What's wrong with that? There was only one window on that death trap, and it was in a 1-person occupiable bathroom. So the rest of them would have had to look at it through a screen anyway. They could have looked it up. Once again, they are billionaires. There are cameras that are created for the sole purpose of taking pictures of the ocean floor, and I promise you, a billionaire could afford it. But instead, they decided to get on a death trap that was operated by a $30 Logitech Bluetooth controller. Whose fault is that? Especially if you're willing to bring your own child on an unregulated death trap. I have no sympathy for you. I have no sympathy for billionaires. Eat the rich! Eat the rich!
Videos like this really bother me.
Well, let's bring him out. Here's Eric Cartman.
Why this bothers me is because this little girl probably thought she was making a fun, cute video with her mom, right? Mom probably said like, hey, I found this cute sound online, and you walk out and you go, whatever, and I'm gonna make this video and I'm gonna film you, so you're gonna get my attention and my validation for doing a good job, and then we can watch it back because kids like to see themselves on camera, right? But the little girl doesn't know that mom put that text there and blasted it to 1 billion people on social media, and now it's part of her digital footprint, right? Like, it just really doesn't seem fair, and it doesn't seem very kind.
All right, the time has come. I'm gonna tell you why I use the word butch. Happy Pride. I use the word butch because it is a queer word. It is our word. It is purposely not clearly defined. I don't need to be clearly defined. I am much more than this world, and I only need words that understand my expanse, and butch is the one. I love that butch is a word that can contain a variety of siblings, whether that be masculine women to trans guys, and I love that I have so many family members that exist in the spectrum of butch. I love that butch gives us knowledges and love about this world that other people don't know, that when we walk the line as a butch, we understand different messages from the universe as we are living through this experience. I love that I get to share that with many other people, and it is not solely mine. I love that butch makes me feel like it's a role in community. I love to be in service of my community. I feel a duty to be of service to others, and it hits right at that nexus of butchness, and I'm so happy for myself that that's how that worked out. I love the word butch because it has given me a vision of love that I didn't know was possible for myself and for others. When I decided to choose myself over and over and over again, I knew that the love that I had was really for the love of butch people and wanting us to be free and wanting us to be seen. And I knew that I had to take up my mantle as a butch. I love that I have butch besties that understand me in deep and profound ways, in ways that I have never been known. And I am grateful that the thing that connects us is our magical butchness. I really believe that when people see scary people loving hard, people who they don't expect, then they transform because they realize that we are possibilities much bigger than their expectations. And I am going to pour into that every single damn day of my life. I know what love is because I decided to be embodying my butch spirit. Folks, I have discovered my personal style, Goombacore. It's when you are a fat butch, but you're a little fabulous, and your style could be characterized as an old Italian man who used to be in the mob, but does like the finer things in life. Just gotta be a little flashy. All right. I think it works. I think it works.
How beauty robs us of our sense of time. So through beauty, we are alienated from our present self because we are told that there's a future ideal sense of ourselves that is a better and more perfect version of us, and it is our daily work to become that self. Your ideal self works out a certain amount of times a week. Your ideal self has a beauty regimen, a skincare regimen. You can't wait to become your ideal self. Simultaneously, as you grow older and older, you are told that you do not look yourself, that your ideal self was younger. And so there's this dual effect of time working in both directions to create this friction where the present self is always denied. You are never allowed to be your present self. There's never a moment in time where you can actually occupy your now self.
So I just became aware that Shein took some influencers to their factory in China. If you've been following me for a while, you might remember when I was poisoned by Shein. This video had 4 million views, and it was before I understood the error of my ways. So fear not, I have learned my lesson. The product I used were these gold foils because I like to do my nails myself, except they melted into my skin like mercury would. Both of my arms went numb all the way up to the elbow, creeping up to my shoulder, and I had to go to the emergency room. Now, because the video did get 4 million views, Shein reached out to me. They learned about my story story on TikTok and said no product is intended to cause harm. They started an investigation, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. They took the same product that I had bought and sent it to a factory, but it wasn't my product. It was just something that was already in their facility. This is a little blurry because of their security settings. I wasn't able to take a screenshot on my phone. I had to take another phone and take a picture of it. It was a whole, but this is their lab findings. There was lead. If you see right here, the maximum allowable limit is 5 mgs per kg for lip and mouth product. That basically means that per kilogram, 5 milligrams of that are allowed to be lead. And we're putting that on our mouth. I'm so sorry it's so blurry, but if you see below, the deep golden nail color of the foil below is 9.1 mg per kg. That is well over the lead limit, even though there shouldn't even be a lead limit in cosmetic. But because this was for my nails and not for my lips, it passed, according to them. And the mercury levels, I could not fucking believe this, but the maximum allowable mg of mercury is 65 mg per kg. And that's for use in the area around your eyes. In the foils I was using, it was 0.05 of mercury. So according to them, it passed. According to my bill from the emergency room, it didn't. I can only imagine the horrific things that are happening to these workers in these factories. Channel 4 did an extensive expose on Shein where they found the workers are working 18-hour days. And the chemicals they're exposed to with these products are incredibly toxic. But these influencers don't care. They jump at the opportunity to feel important. By the way, she has less followers than me. I don't know how she's an influencer because I'm definitely not. I guess corporations would prefer people that would lie to the public. Regarding the clothes, after that video, I had lots of pictures from people showing me their naked bodies with rashes on them after they tried on Shein clothes. Please don't send me any more pictures like that, guys. I get it, but please spare me. This highly curated trip to the factories in China is very much giving the North Korean propaganda. When they know journalists are coming, these are the store layouts, and this is what North Korea will show those journalists, instead of the actual stores and the death camps. Now, from being an ex-reporter in DC, this irked me so bad.
I was able to interview a woman that worked in the fabric cutting department. You guys know me. She's an investigative journalist.
No, you're not. No, you're not. This girl is not an investigative journalist. Guys, please stop shopping at Shein. They don't care about you, they don't care about the workers, and they don't care about human rights. Just like every corporation, they care about making a buck. Follow for more tea.
Y'all, it's starting to get to me. Spider-Verse artists, I love you bad. I love you so much. Specifically my Hobie artists, love y'all down. However, y'all need a tutorial for Wix. My God. I won't show any examples personally of what I think are like bad Wix because artists are learning every day. And I don't believe in critiquing artists when they don't ask for it because then it just feels like rude, unsolicited advice. Anyway, let's get into it. The biggest problem that I see when I see people draw Hobie's Wix is that y'all love consistency, which is not a good thing. At least not in this context. I'm seeing a lot of this shape when y'all are doing his Wix. This like consistent like rectangular shape, which is not the shape of Wix. And I get it, sometimes it's stylized, but you can still stylize it and make it look like black people's hair. Like black people get that excuse all the time. Oh, but it's stylized. Do that to your white characters then. How come I'm only seeing your black characters in your style? That's an argument for another day. Anyway, this is also a bad example because I did this so fast, but also I see people making his locks all the same size and all the same shape. So he's got a head full of this literally all the way around. This, not right. Hobie's Wix looks like they're free-formed, which means there's gonna be a lot of variety in the shapes and sizes of his Wix. It's gonna look a lot more like this in terms of variety than this. Also, another thing I'm seeing is the size. If you think you've drawn them too big, they are probably not big enough. Hobie has a lot of fucking hair, okay? Like, a lot of hair. So where I'm seeing this, it should look more like this. He has a lot of fucking hair. My last beef with y'all, I promise, is the texture. If I'm not seeing this, I'm seeing this. And that's just not how Wix work. That is just an afro. Oh, also one last thing, which is just like not really a big thing, and I've only seen it a couple times, but still I've seen it a couple times. His hair don't go down. It's not straight hair. Wix and like certain black hairstyles defy gravity. That shit is going up and every which way, okay? I've seen a lot of people draw his hair like straight down locks. I'm like, ooh, that's just not how that works. And I'd like to note, I've been doing locks for 6 years, so that's what makes me a little bit more picky about this stuff. And you are not obligated in any way to follow my advice. But to my Spider-Verse artists, if you want black people to look at your art and go, damn, like that's a really good job, follow the tips. If you want to get better at drawing black hair, follow the tips. And honestly, the reason I even felt obligated to do this is because I watched a really popular like art tutorial account give a Wix tutorial for Hobie the other day, and it was not, yeah. But hey, who am I? Hope this helped. Good luck and Godspeed.
Shit like this brings the movement down. Everyone's a feminist until there is a spider around.